Welcome to the Cooking with Chemists show.
Today we are going to bake some delicious s'mores brownies while learning about the chemistry involved.
Let's get started. In a large bowl, you should mix together the sugar, flour, cocoa, salt, and baking powder.
The flour that we are using today is all-purpose flour. The difference between all-purpose flour and regular types of flour are seen within the gluten content. Typically, there is between 10 to 12% of protein within the flour. According to Food Network, the elastic gluten framework, which stretches to contain the expanding leavening gases during rising, a physical change occurs when the flour and baking powder mix to create a homogeneous mixture that's added in the recipe. It's important to mix these two together thoroughly because it leavens the flour to give the brownies a thicker texture.
Cocoa powder doesn't just add a delicious chocolate flavor to our brownies. It also has important properties that lead to the overall outcome of the brownie. There are two types of cocoa powder. The one we are using today is natural processed opposed to Dutch processed. The natural processed cocoa powder has pH of 5.5. Cocoa powder's acidity is an advantage in baking since it causes the proteins in baked goods to set more fast. When natural cocoa, which is an acid, is used in recipes calling for baking soda, which is a base, it creates a leavening action that causes the batter to rise when placed in the oven. Cocoa is made up of a lot of some substances, but it contains a lot of theobromine, which chemical formula is C7H8N4O2. Cocoa powder is very bitter. However, once it is baked, its flavor is a very rich chocolate, which is why we are using it in our brownies.
The important thing that happens in sugar is called the Maillard reaction. What this does is it darkens the product. The reaction is seen in baking as well as in savory dishes, but the difference is what's causing them and the smells that they give off. Here, sugar is the main item. What it is doing, essentially, is caramelizing the brownie so that the sugar creates a darker texture within it. When you add baking soda into this reaction, it causes the pH level to rise, helping to continue the caramelization. The action between the amino acids and the reducing sugar is added heat, causing it to happen. The chemical makeup of the sucrose, or sugar, is C12H22O11.
The chemical formula for salt is NaCl, which means it is composed of sodium and chlorine. Recipes for baked goods usually call for a pinch of salt because it helps conceal bitter tastes. But the mineral also plays a key role in gluten formation, says Patty Christie, a biochemist who teaches a series of popular kitchen chemistry courses at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The reason you add salt to dough is to make the dough more elastic, Christie explains. Charged amino acids in the flour are going to interact with the ions in the salt and then helps line up the gluten fibers. Your bread is going to have a better texture. Baking powder is also a very important ingredient in brownies. It contains baking soda, which is sodium bicarbonate, and a dry acid, such as sodium aluminum sulfate. When liquid is added to a baking recipe, these two ingredients react to form bubbles of carbon dioxide gas. It is crucial that you put the brownies in the oven very soon after liquid is added to the recipe, because the bubbles will disappear otherwise and the outcome will not be as good. The main purpose of baking powder is to leaven the brownies, or make them rise, which increases the surface area.
Eggs are typically used as a leavening agent in baking, and it doesn't change for brownies. Eggs contain amino acids which are linked together through a chain that becomes broken. Due to the broken chain, the egg particles are elongated and they are able to connect to other things within the brownie. They keep everything held together. Egg whites are used as a leavening agent as well. According to Meg Winkler from Demand Media, the egg white contains the protein lectin, which coats the outside of the air bubbles created within the egg when it's beaten. The protein strengthens the egg bubbles and prevents them from popping during baking. The tight proteins are released and the chains of amino acids break apart, causing the batter to rise. The yolk of the egg adds mixture to the brownies, causing a chemical reaction to take place between the eggs and the particles that are connecting the two.
Vegetable oils are triglyceride, which is a lipid or fat found in your blood. Vegetable oil is extracted from multiple plants to create one oil. You use vegetable oil instead of olive oil when baking because it has a higher boiling point so it can cook food faster and produce different flavors. Vegetable oil has a high boiling point since its specific heat is 2, which is very high. The temperature for vegetable oil to boil is 300 degrees Celsius. The molecule for vegetable oil is C54H100O7. Vanilla extract is a very expensive ingredient that is only used in baking to enhance all the flavors used in the recipe. The chemical formula for vanilla extract is C8H8O3.
The glass container insulates heat
thus it is endothermic. It takes a longer time to heat up than a metal container, but once it heats up, it stays at a stable temperature, which will prevent hot spots. The oven is exothermic, which means it gives off heat to cook the food.
Bake for 20 to 25 minutes.
The last step is to eat and enjoy.